Today I'm going to continue for last talk. We are separate database server with job server. Last time we were talking about after we switch it. Say job server is separate from DB server, and last time it was switch all of the applications to connect to the new job server and database server. That's only part of the job is done. Another part, this bonus system there is called ESM, which is using for upgrade and patching. That one has to be switched to. Here we're going to talk about how to switch it. Here's the diagram. This is all the systems. We have ESM server. Jenkins is the one to do the work to connect all them different servers, right? When we separate this part to be two servers, database server on 19C, we have new job server on Linux 7. So what we have to do is we need to install Jenkins on this server, also install one Jenkins node on Jenkins server, but we do not do anything with the database. Database will be not directly connect to the Jenkins server. One change, Jenkins path change already done in ESM server used to be is set partly to the old database server and the job server. So ESM setting has to be changed according to the change, database server change and job server change. Following here is the steps we're going to follow. The first we need to do is we call set up SSH directory. That's meanings between the servers. For ESM, it required to communicate each other, logging as SSH but without prompt for password. So this is only the steps you needed to switch. If you're reading the ESM installation guide and have a lot more steps you have to configure, no. You only need to do this 11 steps. The first one is SSH. The second one, SSH ESM setup, generally is some no password file setup. This is the way they handle the communication between the servers. One file, check to see it's there or not, and then it's for the upgrade. Another one for Jenkins setup. Jenkins setup, first you need to install one Java installation, and you create new job server Jenkins node on ESM server. And then you create Jenkins slaves on new job server. So ESM server will be communicate with the job server. Then there's a staging directory we need to set up mounted. So the staging directory should be mounted for all of the other servers from job server, application servers. Here is the diagram here. The mounting, we have job server here, right? Has to be mounted each application servers. Also MB SAP server. They are shared. The reason is they're using this shared directory. Everything manipulated on the job server, the other server can see it. For example, for Part1 server, they can see what you did here. Well, change here, then they can directly from the mounted directory deploy it on your Part1 High application server. That's the reason why we need this mounted shared server. It's in our step 7. When we have this directories ready, and then just set up the ESM modification for each window, like image setting, machines, application, and credential. Here's detail one by one. The first one, SSH. The purpose for this connection is in the 3 servers. One is the job server, MB server, and SSB server. Right? People will be able to, from the one server to another server, log in without prompt and password. So this is the purpose. Right? If you check the current old server, we have DB. This is old DB server, right? We already checked, communicate from DB server to MB SSB, but log on is fine. SSB to DB server and NB is fine. From NB to DB server and SSB is fine. This old setting. But they have some in order to set up this, you need to set up the key, public key. Usually it's a public key is on all DB, MB, and CB server. This old setup. Now for the new one, let's do the new system SSH setup. On the job server, home Part1 directory, make there dir.ssh. We copy all the file from the home Part1 on the old server to this directory on the new server, this job server. From job server, you copy a SSH directory. Inside, you will see there's 4 things. One is the key. This key should include in all of them server's public key. Here is your private key. Here is a public key for this server. Known host is when you're doing it, the host will be name will be there. So let's see. Here's actually the university uses another way. It's a very easy way. So to achieve this, all of the servers, job server and BSSB, they have a private key. It's the same as one of them. Yeah. But for public key, on all of them server, job server and BSSB, right? You have 3 of them. See this one, right? On the server, public key are same. They're using one, same thing. Authentication key is the 3 of them from each server, and BSSB, job server. For some reason, the setup is worked this way, but actually, I have some different opinion with it, but it is working. So it's a working setup this way, it's fine. And then we're going to test SSH connection. How can we test this? Generally, it's very easy. You from server, on the from server, you issue the command, say like SSH Part1 to server. You run it on from server to connect to server. For example, you can do it on the server, job server, SSH Part1 and B server. To see you can connect without password, right? So here's the test result. From job server, you will be able to connect to the SSB and B server. All the logon is fine. SSB server can connect to job server and B server, also fine. And B server can connect job and SSB server, also fine. When this one is done, you know your SSH setup is ready. The second part, .ssh ESM directory. Inside this directory, nothing but so-called non-password file, right? That's just all the servers say. On each server, you have all of them, the other servers, non-password file. This is the purpose. Step. On the new server, job server, you log in as a banner, cd banner home, right? Make dir.ssh and ESM. In this file, you touch all the files for 3 servers, NP, SSP, job server, using their hostname. When you got these 3 server touched, move these 3 servers to all of them job server, SSP, NP server. When you're done this one, you should check like this. It'll be fine. The third one, check this file. It's file for upgrade. And then this file should be on each server. You have it under banner home. But on Tomcat server, this file is under root user. The others under banner. On Tomcat server, which is button 9, is under root because the installation will be different. That's why it's put there. So on the job server, you do not have it, right? Logging as a button, because the other server already have it via this file, putting this line. This is for upgrade scripting script, and then you put password there so they can automatically do the work. When you finish, you're checking everything is there or not, and then this step is done. The number 4, Jenkins and setup, install Java. Yeah, install as root. When you finish the installation, you check which Java, you give a Java version 1.8, you're done. When you finish Java installation, the next you can create new job server, Jenkins node on ESM server. On ESM server, there are 2 things installed. One is ESM, another one is a Jenkins server. You log in with the Jenkins admin console. When you log in that place, under Jenkins node, you just create a new one like this. You can see it like this. When you got this page, you create this node, right? Click on the system information. You're going to find underneath there is the URL, how to connect it to from the other location to this Jenkins server. Pay attention to about security code. This is security code you needed to set up your slave on your job server. So this one is needed to communicate between your Jenkins server with your Jenkins slave. When you got this one, set up node. The next one, you go into the job server. That job server creates several things. First, you have a directory like this, right? Inside, it should be having this DNRP and make slave jars. And create one file called start.sh. So, 2 things. One thing, you need a slave jar, but this one is the location, including your secret code. So in this directory, you're going to find this file here, and Jenkins in the key, including this one, server code, in Jenkins PMAC key file, including this one. So when Jenkins started, it's going to communicate with your server side using this key. So here's the one, start.sh, we create once. This one actually is just to say find where is your slave name and then where is your server name for the EMS servers, and call the Java to start it. Okay. Basically, when you finish this part, to set up a mountain directory, staging directory. Your Jenkins is already done. What you have to do is set a mounted the staging directory, as I explained before. For all the servers you create on the here job server should be able to see by all of the other servers. Right. So set up a new server doing this way. First, in the job server, etc export file. You're writing this sentence here. This is a shared directory. You give the SSB server read only, NB server read only, and Tomcat server same thing. When you set up this one, you're going to mount those directories on each of the SSB and NB Tomcat server. When you mount it, so they can see each other. Find the result should be like here on job server. You can see the directories, 3 of them. SSB and NB Tomcat server, you also can see those directories, but read only. You only can modify it on job server, those directories. Right. When they set up, the next one will be ESM. ESM, you switch, you already have one, create those PROD. By now, you are change the host name and the server name. You log in on the EMS console to set up. Say, generally, if you can modify the old one, we have already environment set of the PROD, and then you set a name here. Version, it be 19. C instead of 11G, right? This one, environment setting. The second, modify the machine. In ESM machine setup for your all servers one by one, right? They have a different IP address. So, job server, DB server, IP address is going to be changed. Everything else, leave the same as before. Also, remember we set up shared directory. So when you set up machine underneath, for each of them you click on it, you set up this directory there for 3 of them. OH 8, OH 9, war file 9. This war file 9 is used for deployed by the 9 application from this directory. You need that. The next one, ESM modification. Modify the application. Here's application. It's same thing. Application, you will see you have new database, new job servers, IP address. You replace this part. This part is not changed. When you finish this part, ESM basically is done. Just need to modify under here. There's a sequence when you log on the server, what the server setup. Here's the server setup. Say when you log on the server, right? Server is going to job server is going to ask your work ID, what you want, and then you enter the PROD. You log in. Also, this may not need it, but sometimes for set up a process, you may need this part. So this is how it is set up. So basically, by now, you set up another nodes for Jenkins and agent. On the DB server, you don't need it. Yeah, you just need it, Jenkins and agent. On MB server, SSB server, job server, Tomcat server, not on database server. When you finish this part until now, your ES is ready to do the upgrade, also do the patching. Thanks for listening.